We're going to go through a few of the self-grading features in the new quizzes platform in Canvas. So when you go to quizzes, make sure you select the new type in order to see this type of quiz. I wanted to start here just to remind you about if you're doing quizzes in Canvas for your sake, for students' sake, go ahead and do use the points, but just remember to check this mark of do not count this assignment towards the final grade. So I'm going to save this. And I've already put a couple of questions in here, but the two types we're going to talk about here are going to be multiple answer and fill in the blank. First, with multiple answer. There has been an update that Canvas actually just pushed out this weekend, which I know is a major complaint that I've heard from teachers, is about grading multiple answers. In the past, it's been if a student doesn't select all of the possible answers correctly, then they get no credit. It was an all or no credit. Now, if you go under the options here, and I have shuffle choices marked on, just so you know I did that. If you go under the options and look under grading, you now have this partial credit with penalty. So if you want to know more about it, you can hit the question mark. But if a student marks an answer that is incorrect, they will lose points off of that. So we'll test that in a second here. I went ahead and made this 3 points just because there's 3 possible answers. The second thing to mention when we're talking about self-grading quizzes, ones that can give students instant feedback, is in fill in the blank questions. So similarly to the multiple answer questions, you could have this set up to where it's a kind of an all or none thing. However, if you look at, so my blank space that I'm using here is irrational. As far as doing this as a self-grading, you have these options under here for text match. And the one that I want to point out to you, instead of trying to guess all of the different answers that the students might put that are close to irrational or what misspellings they may have, try using this close enough option. What the close enough option does is it uses this mathematical calculation, which I'll just show you super quick here. Basically, that number, so the distance of 1, and I'm not even going to try to say that name, basically says how far off, how many changes need to be made to go from what the student put versus the real answer. So if you look at each of these lines, kitten is a distance of 1 off from sitten. They're showing an example from beginning to end, but 1 change was made, either an addition of a letter, a change of a letter, or subtraction. So if you look from kitten to get to sitting here, there's 3 changes that would have to be made. Therefore, the score, the distance score would be 3. So if you make this a 1, that will allow, and you may want to change this to spelling only so that you don't have to do capital or lowercase, but this will make it so that the answer will be marked correct if, say, they forgot to do the double R. I wouldn't make this number too high because then you'll be allowing for too many changes and you may not get the answers you intend to. This may be something to test out with your test student to see how far off you can be. So really quickly, I'm going to jump into my student view and take this quiz. And I'm going to select 2 right answers and 1 wrong answer. And I'm going to misspell this just off by 1 letter. And I'm going to submit. And you can see that as the student, I earned 1 out of 3 points here because I selected 2 of the correct, but 1 of the incorrect. So this was 2 points that I would have gotten, and it subtracts a point off because I selected an incorrect answer. And even though this was misspelled, I still get this answer correct because it was close enough. So consider using these 2 tools to help you when you're talking about self-grading assessments in Canvas.